should I say good, or should I go to, after 10 good and great races, we took a break. Now we are going back to Formula One. After 4 weeks break, we are going to Zandvoort in Holland. Wow. A lot of us have missed Formula One, and it's good you are going back after the wonderful season has treated us to some beautiful races. The first 4 races were still the Red Bull in contention, but now we have a mix of Red Bull, McLaren, and behind them we have the Mercedes and the Ferrari, which has given us some beautiful races. We can't wait for the next 10 races of the season. Welcome to the Dutch Grand Prix preview in Zandvoort, North Sea coast of North Holland, close to the Dutch city of Amsterdam. You are welcome to the Dutch Grand Prix, which is also known as Circuit Zandvoort. Yeah, the Dutch Grand Prix had been hosted 35 times, and it was first hosted in 1950, and it went through 1985. And from 1985, there was a 35 years break. The break was 8 years because it was too long. But in 2021, we were back in Zandvoort, and since then it has been on, and it has been great races. Like I said earlier, the first Grand Prix was hosted in 1950, and Jim Clark of the United Kingdom has won the Grand Prix 4 times, and Ferrari has won 8 times as a constructor, with a circuit length of 4.259 kilometers. That's about 2.64 miles. A race length of 306.587 kilometers. That's a 190.504 miles. 72 lap race. The race is going to be very interesting, I can bet you. With Red Bull having much time to think over and look at their design and what mistakes they've made, is going to be very interesting. McLaren pumping up, looking like the fastest car presently. Mercedes finding their balance, finding a new gear, and going back to a green circuit in Zandvoort. I hope Ferrari have seen what they have been missing in the past 5-6 races, and we can go back racing, having the 4 prancing and 4 challenging cars challenging themselves in Zandvoort to be one of the most interesting races I think I can anticipate. Last year we had a pole position, Max Verstappen, and we had the win, Max Verstappen. The race was mad with so many beauties. We had the dry, the rain, the dry, the rain, and the dry. What a beautiful race. Max Verstappen coming up to win the race in 2 hours, 24 minutes, 4 seconds. Fernando Alonso winning the fastest lap and also coming second, and Pierre Gasly coming third in the race. Sergio Perez had a penalty. He was demoted from third. That was why Pierre Gasly had the 4th position. Lewis Hamilton coming from qualifying 13th to finish the race 6th position. Lando Norris 7th, Albon 8th, Piastri 9th, Ocon 10th. Russell tangling and diving and moving along with Lando Norris. Lando Norris left him behind in 17th position, while Lando Norris took the 7th position. But I can tell you, with all these actions, it was still one of the best races last season, because it gave us some thrills, some turns, and some beautiful things that we expected. In 2022, we had Max Verstappen winning the race also. Started on pole with the Ferraris behind him. He won the race conveniently, with George Russell coming second and Charles Leclerc third. Lewis Hamilton 4th. Perez 5, Alonso 6, Norris 7, Sainz 8, Ocon 9, and Stroll 10. And in 2021, when the race was back, that was the battle of Mercedes and Red Bull. Max Verstappen won conveniently. It was a race for him to win and a race for him to lose. He won conveniently, putting the 2 Mercedes behind him, with Hamilton coming second and Bottas third. Gasly has always had that track a lucky charm. He came 4th, Leclerc 5th, Alonso 6th, Sainz 7th, Perez 8th, Ocon 9, Norris 10th. And we are hoping for a great race this weekend in Zandvoort, with the tickets going from €380 for a day ticket to a 2-day ticket, Saturday, Sunday, in a nice comfortable place. You can have another 380 day ticket with 3 days going for €410, and a Saturday in a nice and comfortable place you have a €1,390 ticket. We have the Tarzan Grandstand going for €595, Bempon 1 Grandstand going for €595 on Sunday. The Arena on Sunday will go for €595. East Side Grandstand going for €595. The East Side Grandstand 2 be €490. And we have other tickets, but the least ticket, €380 ticket, in which you can quickly get your own ticket and be in the race, because it's going to be a very, very interesting race. Now to the weather forecast for the Dutch Grand Prix. I think there's going to be rain on Sunday. And I think it's going to be interesting if there's rain on Sunday. It's going to bring more vibe to the race. We're having the Friday FP1, FP2 with a light rain throughout the day, which might be easing in the evening. The temperature of around 22 degrees centigrade and chances of rain of 55%. FP3 and qualifying rain. Scattered showers across the session. Precipitation is about 65%. Yes. So there will be rain all through on Saturday also with 20 degrees temperature. But on Sunday, we have a sunny interval. The highest temperature for the Sunday race will be a 19 degree with chance of precipitation of about 15%. So the chances of rain on Sunday is 15%, which shows that the possibility of rain is a little bit low. But that does not mean it's a prediction. So there might still be rain. And if there is rain, well, it's going to be enjoyable. But certainly, we are going to have some wonderful opportunity to have a great race. But what do we expect in Zandvoort? Let me tell you, I expect a very good racing. I expect very close racing in Zandvoort. And will this team continue from where they left off in the middle of the season? I'm talking about Mercedes, McLaren. It will be a very close between Mercedes, McLaren and Red Bull. But I think Mercedes are already gearing up. The upgrades they brought to Belgium that they were unable to really put to ground will be tested. They might be able to use the upgrade and get the best out of the upgrades, which might push them forward in Zandvoort. Also, McLaren will be coming with some bits. We expect them. Red Bull should be coming with upgrades. It's been long they came with upgrades, though they've had a bad turn in the last 3 races. But Max Verstappen had always come out to prove himself that he's one of the greatest of all time in F1, and he has shown himself to be a very good racing driver. So I expect it to be a very good race, and I expect a tough battle, like I said, between Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren. I can't tell you who will win the race, but looking at the race, strategy and weather will predict how the race will turn out. Qualifying on Saturday might also be an opportunity for some teams to put themselves in a nice position, especially with the rain. We have the rain drivers, we have the rainmakers, so we should see all those things playing out to make the race a very, very interesting race. But I can't wait, certainly, for the race in Zandvoort. So to the tire compounds, we're going to be having C1, C2, C3, and I think this compound would give just a one stop if there is going to be a dry session. Going to be, because the C1 is the hardest tire compound. With that track lap in Zandvoort, I think they'll have only one stop because the tire selection is too hard. They're having C1, C2, C3, which is the C1 hard, the C2 medium, the C3 soft. I don't see them having a 2-stop race except there is rain. It's going to be a 1-stop race. Now, there's a lot of right turns and hairpins. The front left tire is going to be more stressed than the right front tires. So the front left tire is going to have more stress. There are long straights and sharp corners. Now, the traction is 4 or 5 in level. Asphalt grip, medium grip, that's about 3. Asphalt abrasion, medium abrasion, 3. Track evolution, yes, 4. High track evolution. Tire stress, 5 or 5. High tire stress, not so much braking, medium, 3 or 5. Lateral, 4 or 5. Good lateral and good downforce, 4 or 5. So for the camber limit, it's going to be -3 for the front and -1.75 degrees for the rear. And the starting pressure will be 25 psi at the front and 22.5 at the rear. Yes, that will be for the tires in Zandvoort. And also, like I said, loads of stress for the front left tire in front. But I believe it's going to be a one-stop race, except there is a rain. That's for the tires. Now, let me quickly add this. Sergio Perez has been struggling since the Red Bull downturn, and a lot of people have been criticizing him. And last year, you would know that Sergio Perez really struggled with the RB19 after great success from him. Early this year, he really put some good, decent laps in. The downturn came when Red Bull, after the China Grand Prix started, brought some updates that were not working. Now, a lot of people are saying the brake stuff that happened in Australia, and I will say no, I disagree. It's not the brake stop, because FIA might have stopped whatever they stopped, but that is not what is affecting Red Bull. The podless they went for, even Ferrari is having the same issue. Ferrari copied them and went on that slim whatever, the slim slime air intake that looks podless, and they're having the same downturn, the same issue. Red Bull need to get their floor. Ferrari needs to get their floor. They need to bring a floor that will complement, and that was what Mercedes struggled for 1.5 years. They need the right floor that will compensate the kind of side they were using, which is not. And remember, Lewis Hamilton has been known to suffer with this car because of the way the car is balanced and the way the car drives, especially in qualifying. That's why he's not good on qualifying. Then by the time he digs into it in race, he gets better, and he can race very well. But he's suffering from it, even Alonso. So he's not a car that they can easily understand or adjust to. Now, this same technology of cars are now being overdeveloped. That's where the problems are. The floor is not the right floor that Red Bull or Ferrari needs to drive that car. So they need to work on the floor to get the right floor, in which Mercedes struggled for 1.5 years. Even when they came with a car that looks a little bit better, they still struggled. So I think, and I certainly know, it's not the whatever the FIA worked on, but it is the floor that can work with that side pod. And I'm sure Red Bull will go back their normal route. in 2025. They won't go the podless or what look like something that will have no pod. They won't go like that. Remember, they said after Japan, after 4 races, they will come with a total podless this. They could not come up with that because they didn't get it. And I think from what I'm seeing, the Red Bull is not going to improve. And if we watch the Dutch Grand Prix, if they don't improve, it is already showing how their season is going to end. The only thing they can pray for is Max Verstappen keep scraping points, 1 point, 2 points, because that car is not working well with his teammate Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is more older than him. It's not working well with him, so it will be difficult for him to drive the car. Remember, I said it in the beginning of the season that car might look fast, but it might be a mar for them. I said it when Red Bull launched their car that it's going to be a problematic car for them. But if they can get ahead of it, they would really have something to hand. But if they cannot get ahead of that car, it will be a problem for them. If they can solve the problem Mercedes cannot solve, it will be a good car. But if they cannot solve that same problem Mercedes could not solve, it will be a problem for them. And that is what Sergio Perez is going through. And I think Sergio Perez, to be sincere with us, Sergio Perez is a good driver and is in that team doing a wonderful job. But his teammate is just doing an outstanding job, a better job, a prolific job, making sure that car that is nothing is bringing something out of it. And kudos to him. Sergio Perez might take on a new race engineer immediately after the Dutch Grand Prix or from the Dutch Grand Prix, because his own race engineer will be going on a paternity leave. That's Huge Bird. And Richard Wood, his performance engineer, might step up position. So that might be so. It's not that anything is happening, but I think the Mexican also need to find a seat for next year, like I said. But Dutch Grand Prix certainly will be a very good Grand Prix in which we'll see which team has brought improvement and has really improved, and which team has not improved, and what could happen for the rest of the season. But it's going to be a very interesting one. We have 10 more races. If teams like Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren can step up, push Max Verstappen down, maybe to 7th in every race, championship might change. But let's see what happens. But it's going to be a very interesting season, I can tell you, because certainly Max Verstappen will still win races. I'm sure about that. At least 1 or 2 races he will still win, and it's going to be a very, very interesting season from this point onward. Yeah, catch you in FP1, FP2 analysis. I love you guys. Thank you. Bye. Cheers.